time for Dave 101.
I'm going to start off by saying that the planet is not a very nice place right now. What happened in Canada over the last few weeks, what's happening around the world, especially with Russia invading the Ukraine, it's not a happy place. I don't know what the hell we have done to deserve this, whatever this is. But much like all of you, I don't like what is going on. I hurt. I felt bad for my fellow Canadians on what was happening up here. I feel bad for my heritage being of Ukrainian descent and seeing the Russians and Vladimir Putin starting a war for no reason whatsoever. I don't like to get political on this show. I really don't. I really try my damnedest to stay away from topics like this. Why? Because all of you out there get hammered by this day in, day out. We've had it happen the last couple of years, ever since the beginning of COVID. We hate it. We need a break, which is why on this show you will rarely ever hear us talk anything political outside of UFOs. Because, let's face it, UFOs do have a political side to them. But we don't want you guys to think that we are ignoring what is going on in the world. And just like all of you, I hurt. I hurt for every single one of us right now. And it sucks. My anxiety over the last week and a half has been at an all-time high to points where I felt like I was going to have a heart attack. And that's the truth, even though I know it was my anxiety coming up. Look, I suffer from depression and anxiety. This whole thing, this black cloud that is hovering over the world right now, it sucks. It sucks. So I started thinking, because I'm hurting right now, how can I tie this to the paranormal UFO communities? And you know what? What we see going on in the world right now is much like every day we see going on in these fields. There's a lot of hatred, a lot of jealousy, a lot of backstabbing, a lot of people trying to ruin other people's opportunities and careers, using words that are hate-filled, misogynistic. And I don't throw around the word misogynistic lightly. All right? These are communities that are highly, highly divided. And there is no way, because there are no rule books, that these communities will ever come together on the same page. Which is why, for many of us, myself included, we've really taken a step back from the communities and the drama that goes along with it to really focusing on what we are doing. Trying to make our game and our little piece of the puzzle shine as brightly as we can. But there are always others out there who want to try and tear it down. Maybe they don't agree with a guest, the way we interview, the way we look, the way we have our own focus for this show. We need to understand that one thing that is very much lacking, whether it's in the podcast world, the political world, and everything, is that people do matter. People do have feelings. And whether they've decided to make themselves a public figure like Lou Elizondo, or they've decided to keep quiet like the people listening to this show, the opinions are still there. And everyone's opinion should have some validity to it. Look, our motto for this show has always been, we believe everybody. And the reason why we believe everybody is this. I've never stood in your shoes. You've never stood in mine. After what I've personally experienced, who am I to sit there and say that your story, your events, your experiences are not real? It's dumbfounding. Just because something didn't happen to you doesn't mean that other people are lying. It doesn't mean that other people are trying to cheat the system for their 15 minutes of fame. The one thing that I have noticed outside of social media from a number of people who have reached out to me is that people, including my good listeners and the chatters in my chat room, they just want answers to either what happened to them or because they have a curiosity. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't care if you saw a bug jump from your 7th-story apartment window and land on the ground and run away. And when I say bug, I mean like an alien bug, maybe 6, 7 feet tall. I don't care. I don't care if you claim that you have fairies in your back garden. I don't care if you have seen Bigfoot or Sasquatch. And when I say I don't care, it's because I love the subject, but I'm not going to be drama around you. I care about hearing your story. I care about you potentially getting answers to what you want. Look, we aren't a hard-hitting journalistic type of program here, even though I pride myself on being a journalist. Certain interviews we do will take that route. But in the end, this show and what we do on a nightly basis here is not about Dave Scott. It's not about my experiences. It's about all of us hearing the stories that people are researching and the encounters that people are having. We're never going to solve any of these. If you look at the UFO field alone, the government taking over this subject, we can't trust what they're going to give us. We can't. And I do believe that the experiencers truly have more answers than what credit they are giving. This is why a scientist like Gary Nolan is studying experiencers with Jacques Vallée at Stanford University. You look at the cryptid world, where opinion means more than the actual evidence. How do you solve anything with that? The truth of it is, you don't. Paranormal world, we don't know what a ghost is. We assume, but we got a bunch of people running around like chickens with their heads cut off, trying to claim that they are experts. And by the way, you can't go to this location because it's mine. It's mine. You see where I'm getting at with this? Where I'm going with this is we are a troubled field. We're a troubled field of ego. We're a troubled field of attitude. We're a troubled field of knowledge because we're not even close to getting any answers. And just like the rest of the world, we need to take the time to sit back, look at the bigger picture, and say, this is supposed to be fun. There are not a lot of millionaires who've made their money and their living off of the paranormal world. In fact, as far as my count, there's only 2. George Norrie and Zach Bagans. That's it. 2. In this giant world where alone in the ghost hunting community in the United States, there are more than 50,000 ghost hunters running around playing ghost hunting. And yet, even though there is a brilliant amount of brain power in any of these fields, we're not choosing it for the good. We are choosing it for our own personal gain, which in the end becomes political. I don't know about you, but I am tired of politics. I am tired of seeing people fighting people, whether you're a vaxxer or an anti-vaxxer, whether you're pro-Russia, anti-Ukraine, or pro-Ukraine, anti-Russia. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care who you voted for. I don't care what your opinion is on anything. What I care about is this field and where are we going with it? What can we do to make it better? What can we do to make the world better? When's the last time any of you looked at your neighbor and said hello? When's the last time you shoveled your neighbor's driveway because it's a little too snowy and maybe they're elderly? When's the last time you held a door open for someone? Excuse me. When's the last time you actually stopped at a crosswalk and let people walk across? When's the last time you picked up somebody's tab behind you in a drive-through? In everything we do these days, and I'm trying not to sound like I'm preaching, we need to try and do a little bit better. A little bit better for the people who are around us. Try saying hello to someone. Greet someone with a hi, have a good day, thank you. For all you know, that may be the spark that other person needs to show that humanity can give them a little bit of faith. I had faith when I was on Twitter looking at what's going on in Russia right now, where there are thousands of people, innocent people, protesting against Vladimir Putin, saying, stop the war. We don't want this. There's nothing wrong with Ukraine. I saw a number of people in my own country standing up, waving Canadian flags. The vaxxed with the unvaxxed, the Sikhs with the Caucasians, the First Nations with the African Canadians, hanging out. It was a beautiful display of humanity. Of course, there's bad apples that always got to ruin something. The paranormal, supernatural, UFO, and cryptid world is the same. This is why I'm very thankful for my booking team who books our guests, because each and every one of them knows what we want for your audience, for our audience, pardon me. We want someone who is going to be open-minded. We want somebody who's going to be, factual with what they are saying. We want somebody who's going to come in here and not be any sort of tyrant on what they say is the gospel. And I thank them for that. And I encourage all of you, and I challenge all of you out there. We can make this world a better place. We got to add some positive vibes. Do yourself a favor. If you can afford it, when you're in line at Starbucks, Tim Hortons, Dunkin' Donuts, wherever you may be, maybe even McDonald's, if you got an extra couple bucks, pay for the guy behind you. You never know what kind of day they're having. It'll make you feel good, but more importantly, it's going to make that other person feel wanted, which in turn could be the spark that next person needs to make somebody else's day. Let's get this ball rolling. We all need some positivity around this planet right now, and it can start with you, and it can start with me. I'm ready to make the commitment if all of you are. And that is your Dave 101.